somewhere for a reason. Where is somewhere for a reason? Away from the front, apparently. We made it to Tall Boy Rail. We just need to make Pink Forest Tall Boy a thing. As well as, you know, Pink Forest everywhere else. Alright, let's head to Pink Forest. Probably be the best. Probably best we go get some stuff refilled. The train network. Thinking more about how to make my train circles better. Without making it a big problem now that the facility's built. Train. It is a sweet rail network that will one day actually be used for something. One day. Not today. Today it will be used for now. Come get fun. I wonder what that puff of air must be them releasing the brake. It's a little strange. Alright. Turn off. So it's driving. Go. Because now we must go to Tall Boy. And then from Tall Boy, I'm not quite sure where to go. Probably best to probably finish it. We want to go straight. But up ahead, we don't necessarily want to go straight. Actually, I do think we want to go straight. Well, the equivalent of straight on this track. Which would be a right turn, except that a right turn requires a complete loop. Which I should improve quickly. That is a stupid system. Although it really wouldn't be that hard to get that train on this system. Oh! Wasn't paying attention. This is why we need automated trains. That way I don't miss my stop and have to stop. This is an unfortunate amount. A little bit of explosives, a little plastic, rubber, a little bit of all down there. Let me go. I must seek out the tall section. So we turn left here. Right here. Those roundabouts are not kind to humans. At all. A little bit of water. I wonder what's the absolute, like, maximum amount of water you can actually collect. But I honestly don't know. That very needs to be pruned. Ah, that needs to be pruned. That one can stay. That one can't. Oh, there's no rail. I somehow forgot that the rail was not a continuous thing. Unfortunate. And then... Whew. Pretty. I'm glad its flight path doesn't go through my train lines. That'd be unfortunate. Okay. So we want right here, there. Whee! Now we just bounce up this. So don't let us go no more. Build it like that. And just keep going for a bit. Not realize I had not done the Pink Forest Rail. Unfortunate. Unfortunate. Keep waiting. Oh, I've been thinking about a fancy kayak though that I want to make. So the thought process behind it is basically there are these things called Stirling engines, which are basically just ways of turning really, like, potentially incredibly small heat differentials into, like, useful work, like spinning around a prop shaft or something. But typically they're not known for having a lot of, like, well, unless you get big ones, they're not necessarily known for the most horsepower. My idea was if you used like the air temperature above a body of water and then a body of water, because those two temperatures almost never align. They do sometimes, so this isn't a perfect system. They almost never align. So if you take that difference and then you put a Stirling engine in between it, you get some essentially free to you power. Technically, it cools the air or heats up the air, one or the other, depending on what type of situation you're in. So it's definitely not a free lunch, because those don't exist, according to random people. Are we actually? No, it says we're live. I think I should check. Hey phone, are we live? We are live. Okay. Huh. It does say we're live. We'll get back to it. Yeah, it's pretty straight. Oh. Not realize pink rail was very not done. Thought pink rail was done. The concrete must be done, but apparently the rail isn't. But anyways, with that heat differential, I was figuring you could probably use that to power a boat. I mean, you're not going to get a lot of power from it, but depending on your needs, that it's still power that essentially you just weren't going to use beforehand. I don't really see a downside to it other than it might lead to like a slightly larger physical mass to your craft, but even then that doesn't really seem that bad. Because it's not that big, that much bigger of a, well, depending on the way you built it, I could see that not being a big problem or a rather large problem. It would depend heavily. I never put rails in. Apparently Pink Network was nowhere near as done as I thought it was. I was smart. Oh yeah. Smart. Connecty, connecty, connecty. Connect. Hello. But the idea behind the kayak would be that it would basically just be like supplementary energy. Or in theory, if you could make it big enough, it would act kind of, you could use it as their main power source. But only if you can make it big enough. But I'm not terribly sure it's a bad idea. I mean, yeah, I find it interesting because it lends itself to high volume but low density transfer, well, cargo transfer. If you were to like scale it up to a full size ship instead of just a little kayak. But that's not necessarily what most cargo is. Most cargo tends to be a bit heavier in nature. No. Where's... Oh no. Train's at the bottom of the hill. Yeah. Now we jump down to the train, so we can drive the train up and start the very slow process of building more rail. And then once all of the core rail network is built, I'll come back through to fix things like weird power pole and floating structures. They seem like they probably shouldn't float. Chainsaw. Uh-oh. Okay. For a second there, I thought it was going to be sad. I must prune my tracks for trees. I suppose that's something real, like, railways have to do, is watch out for trees. I don't think typically they're worried about the tops of the trees interfering with cargo, but It's similar. You need to go. And you need to go. That one's probably okay. That one is definitely not okay. Definitely need to clean that up. I don't think we need that anymore. Alright, train, you're free to move forward now. And you'll vaguely look good doing it. No, 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 not backwards. Forwards. Not backwards. Forwards, train. Okay, there we go. Building it around 10 total length trains, so 2 engines and 8 cargo wagons is my rail system's ideal. Or I should say more max than ideal. Definitely need to rework these roundabouts a little though, because currently if you want to turn right, which would be the easiest turn, you have to go all the way around. It's a very, very smart system. I do say so myself. It's definitely not at all terrible. Okay, so one prong goes this way, one needs to go this way, one needs to go this way, and one needs to go this way. But I can't forget, I actually do need, like, a local network. Although it's probably easier just to retroactively add in circles than it is to preemptively add them in. Especially because I might not always need a circle. I might just need a branch. So theoretically right now, a train can reach here, from here. It can do that, but it has to go over here. I think I probably want to go from here, here. And then shoot up there, and I really don't want to make that much rail. Feels like that would be a very boring process of that much rail. Infinite supply. All the way rail. Coastal rail, you are marked. We will try to use this. Okay. And you lose track of where your fingers are. As I'm set free. I also think it could be an interesting way to kind of start learning machining. I have a very deep interest in like learning that stuff, but I just find the process of like making your tools very fascinating. And like machines that make machines very fascinating, just in general. Oh. I perhaps condense this. No. I could. Okay. Things are going a little weird. Whole goal is to have like everything standardized. That's proving to not really be as much of an option as I'd hoped. But I can still kind of do it like that. So the only reason I'm not falling out of the sky is because I have hover boot. Well, not hover boots, hover jetpack thing. Gosh, that is not good. Not realize it was physically possible for this grid to get misaligned. At all. I mean, luckily it shouldn't be possible to get misaligned vertically. Though evidently, horizontally is totally possible to get misaligned. It's cool. Excited to see that. Exits. This needs to be entrance. No, what exit and entrance over here? Please give me entrance. Please give me entrance now as well. Nope. Third. Entrance. 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 It is now cut up into fourths with an entrance. Okay. Now we can continue over here. But oh no. Of course. Have it set so that way I don't ever have to manually do it. Except sometimes the terrain says, no, you are manually doing it, regardless of if you want to or not. It's just kind of like, well, there's nothing you can do about it. Grab over, grab there. Put that there. And there is actually a reason to all these lines. I am not a total idiot. I do know that these rails conduct power. It's just not the point. And then we just keep going. But I think, well, back to my idea about the kayak with using a Stirling engine to power itself, using the difference between the air and water temperature. I feel like it's doable. I don't really see anything saying, no, you're wrong. but I don't know how much power I'd actually, like, usable power you'd actually be getting out of it at the scale of a kayak. Because I've been trying to look into, like, how you would even, say, calculate that. And it kind of seems like I don't know where to look to start to do something like that. Because I wanted to figure out, like, how much energy, like, the difference was. Although I suppose I could have just converted the temperatures to energy. I could have just converted the temperature difference to energy, and that would be fun. Well, like, let's say the temperature difference is of 20 degrees. Well, then I can just take 20 degrees and convert that to energy. And then I could have gotten it. No problemo. But that's not what I did. I was stupid. I did not do that. That would have been smart. And effective. That would have been illegal. I'm not allowed to be smart here. We're only playing factory game. That's why we're building the rail network before we need it. I have nothing that actually can use a rail network right now. Oh. Rude. Thanks, Poison Plants. You're the best. You're the worst. Poison Plants. You're stupid sometimes, I'll be honest. They're real dumb at some point. Well, at some points. Is that gonna clip? I don't think it's gonna clip. Amount that matters. Nah. Although I could just add a one slant up, and then it doesn't clip at all. I just did that. It doesn't clip, period. Well, it doesn't clip a noticeable amount. 7? Yeah, 7. Yeah, it has to be built that tall or else it has issues when I go to place the 6 down on it. Like I said, instead of just like saying when I go down to place that prefab on it. But do I get one of these? No. I cannot even get that, which is cool. I guess I'll take the computer. They're vaguely useful right now. You suck, though. A lot. I don't like you for that. Say I wanted to start descending a bit. Ooh, not what I meant. Well, kind of what I meant. If I go zoop, yeah, it's not gonna be a problem. Somebody shooting at me. They don't like me. Don't know where they are. Know they're doing it. Probably boil me, to be honest. Yeah. That reminds me, I need to pick up your guys' previous entrails. It's not more. It's not dark. Radiation? Oh, I see it right there. Next to the purple. On the bones. Not sure that adds up. Well, not sure why there's the bone. Those definitely be bones. I think this much down for now is all we really want. Hello. How's it going? I'm a bit late today because I had to work. And that will unfortunately be a reoccurring issue. Pesky live outside of video game getting in the way of video game. We're gonna keep right on with this whole railway before the rail. We're gonna keep doing it. Because I think it'll be really nice just to have this system pre-built for when we go to actually need it. Probably a bit excessive, I'll be honest. I kind of want to go 45, but 45 will way overshoot it. Then we'll go there. We'll keep going straight until we're out of 45. I know vaguely what Tim's is. Look, I thought it was just kind of like a grocery store. But I don't actually know for sure. Because I also heard that like they sold sporting goods at one point. But I'm not sure how accurate that was. Did they sell sporting goods at one point, or did they sell sporting goods and tea? But they're like the Walmart. Of lesser nations. Ah. Oh, well you guys are lucky then, because I hate Dunkin' Donuts. Their donuts aren't very good, and I hate coffee, so they really have literally nothing to offer me. The rest of my family, though, well, most of my family likes coffee. There is a small minority of us that deeply dislikes coffee. Unfortunately, we are a small minority and not a majority. But I am, however, going to start dealing with it more. As at my mom's, they're big coffee drinkers. And part of it's like I just can't stand like the smell. The smell really gets to me with coffee. Although I do like tea. Got a good flavor. Alright, well. That is nowhere near enough concrete to actually produce that, so we're just going to produce a rail back. It's going to be this side. This side, and pull the train forward. Oh, what flavor of tea did you do? Oh, no. I'm glad that's not an American exclusive thing. 50 over. Impressive. I don't get why people, like, do that. Like, I understand you want to be places quickly, but like, faster than your life? Faster than your life feels maybe a little like you want to get there a little too much. I wonder where I'm getting sporting goods, though. I don't think I would get it just from him being a hockey player. I'm not sure where I would have gotten it from. Okay. Where is train? There's train. Train. I need to do some pruning here. Oh, there's a purple guy up there. This is some uranium. You know, the uranium scattered about is just seems like a massive nuisance to me, to be honest. Like, because it just kind of makes normal things difficult. And how are the rest of these? War. I might run out of them soon, though. Oh, I don't feel like I need to do that. I've seen a few car crashes. Especially if you're doing 50 over the speed limit on the highway. That's quite some force you're going to impact with. You're not hitting that one like ground soft, for sure. Wonder what made it get into the coffee game, though. Oh, no.
Relaying message. Hello, this is Paternal Figure. I have taken ill and need your help to find a cure. Doctors say that the only remedy is alien artifacts.
Where did you get this number? Yeah, we're gonna keep going down a while. We need to drop a bunch to get down there. We are almost at 45. Actually, no, we're about out of 45 now. So I put a roundabout here. I think, yeah. Because then that makes the rail here easier. Well, yeah, but that's over the speed limit. It's 30 over. And I'm assuming your speed limits are around 100 kilometers an hour. Would not surprise me if they were higher than 100 kilometers an hour on your highways. Why is that going to be fun, though? Making sure I don't accidentally, like, speed. I'm sure they'll be very understanding when I run over 3 children. I'm sure. Well, that's always nice to know. You're saying I should have an easy time getting through. Okay. Rail. Pop you there. You there. You there. You there. It happens. it just kind of really sucks to deal with. It is not an enjoyable experience from my understanding. Well, I think basically it's just pay it off as quickly as possible because it's going to be virtually impossible to pay off. Well, because it gets really expensive to pay off if you leave the country before you pay it. So I'd prefer not to have to do that at all. Would be nice not to. It's definitely not enjoyable because as a U.S. citizen, you can get like state tickets in other states, which can be super problematic because every state has their own method of paying them, and they will get very upset with you if you do not pay them. And if you're, say, driving through a state, it can be very... Yes, I have heard the Quebecian. No, that I guess Quebec is not very nice. And they don't like it when you try and speak French unless you speak, like, perfect French, apparently. Which feels a bit strange. But that's how they are for my... I don't get to make the rules. I need that train over here. Oh, well, at least Canadians are nice. And I would hope that any, like, officers that stop me are understanding. And don't just go like, well, I see you're just passing through, so I think you need a $200 fine. That would suck. It seems to me like Canada took all of its hatred and then pushed it specifically into people who live in Quebec. Who willingly live in Quebec, I should say. Because that seems to be the general vibe I'm getting. Is that Quebecians are not the best. I have made previous error. What if I say did 3? Built that like that, just temporarily. So I could go like that. What? What the heck? There we go. And then we delete that. And delete that. It makes sense if you think about it. I don't know how you're supposed to think about it to make it make sense, but if you do, it'll just work. I suppose it's probably partially because I consider like the police that are like giant jerk faces are typically from the South. That's not accurate or a true statement, but it's just kind of how things seem to feel. But, and then so that just gets applied to any of like the not nice police. The default is that South, because like it's like a big stereotype here. Well, I wouldn't say it's a big one. It's just not a very small stereotype. Like, let's just say it's been earned. The reason it exists. Like recently, we had this big like debacle where some reporters were like asking like at a meeting to investigate some sheriffs because the sheriffs had done improper meeting procedure. That was their crime. Except on the recordings that they were taking of this new hearing, well, the people, like the reporters, left the room, but they didn't turn off their recording like mics and stuff. And like the police are just like, man, it sure is terrible that we can't hang black people anymore. And it's just like, wait, what? Why is the police saying this? Why is the sheriff of this town saying this? And then they're like, hey, I know an assassin, and like we can just make the reporters disappear. And you know, they've got thick southern accents, and they're just really, really helping everybody else with that accent out. With acting that way. But they're the police. So they get to act pretty much however they want, with very, very little checks and balances. I mean, luckily there's at least some work being done to change that. Just not a great. Like, it's pretty. They found me. There was like some deep rumble. Kind of sounded like when one of the aircrafts, when a plane flies over, like one of the big jets, or just one of the military jets, because those things are not quiet. I mean, I suppose the stealth ones are supposed to be vaguely quiet, but still a jet engine. Not as quietest thing in the world. Okay. Rail time. And is the wrong side for the train to follow me on. I'd quite like it too. Ah. Yeah, look at that. I don't know how much of my Sterling engine talk you caught, but what are your thoughts on something like that? You can also just say I have no idea. That is completely fair. Because I have no idea half the time. I just vaguely know these things exist and I'd like to use them. Okay, do we fall to our deaths as we pray? No. There we go. Interesting. I mean, I'm not sure I'd say Texas doesn't get messed with by the government, but their just government is different in some unique ways. Texas is definitely unique. Because Texas also always likes to call itself the biggest state when it's not. Alaska's the biggest state. And they don't like it when you point that out. But I guess Texas has like this bigger in tech. Well, everything's bigger in Texas, like thing going on. That is false, because Texas isn't the biggest state. Their biggest continuous state. Well, not continuous. They're the biggest state that is part of the continuous United States. It's a little bit bad. I mean, I'm sure Dayquil has like a max, but I'm pretty sure you can take a lot of it before it starts to really get bad for you. I'd still not recommend just breathing it. That sounds a bit excessive, but if that's what you gotta do, that's what you gotta do. No, it's not the biggest continental, it's the biggest continuous U.S. state. Because Alaska is part of the continental U.S., it's just it's separated by Canada. But it's also like 3 times bigger than Texas. Texas, however, is the biggest part of the continuous United States, as in, like, the most amount of states touching each other. Because Alaska and Hawaii are excluded from that, so that way they can do things like biggest state in the continuous United States of America. And magically, that part always gets put in really small text, if they ever actually even put that. Very strange that they would put that in the small state, in the small bit. Whee! Now we're almost 45 off again. No. There's definitely going to have to be some decisions on what exactly it is I want to do after this place. Well, after the rails. Yep. But don't point that out to Texas. Think they special. Texas kind of misunderstands a lot of things. Like, I guess, actually no, not even all that, like, long ago, they were like, we should secede from the Union. And it's just kind of like, do you guys remember what happened last time anybody did that? And also, you don't legally have the ability to do that. There is technically no legal right any state has to secede from the Union. Texas does have a unique ability, though. They are allowed to turn themselves into 5 smaller states. I don't know why they have this ability, but they have been given the ability to just say, Texas, no more, and I shall evolve into monkey. I mean, who knows, like, what the original purpose of that was, but it's there. They get to just self-destruct whenever they want to. Not every state gets to self-destruct, though. Most of them don't. Although right now there is one state that's trying to become a part of another state, which is a bit weird. It's a very strange, like, doesn't make any sense either. Because they're like, we should change, like, what state this giant section of land is a part of, because, like, reason? I guess it's just because everybody in that chunk of the state, like, well, not even everybody in that chunk of the state, just some people in that chunk of the state like the other state more, but don't want to move. And it's just kind of like, why? What are you doing? I think it's technically illegal to break up your state, though. I just know that Texas is the only one that has it, like, in their constitution that they get to break into smaller states. The Fort Keys are pretty cool, though. I have been there. They're not bad. Not bad. Quite enjoyable, I might say. That was so inclined. Nope. I'm thinking we'll probably just call this train station good as soon as we hit the ground. Nah. Worse when it's just that little bit off. I guess I could feel pretty comfortable running like uranium and stuff in this train line. Not going to. But I would feel pretty alright doing it. Well, that is unfortunate, because I definitely don't have any more cable. In the bandwagon. True. Now, I don't believe they would have that much power in the Senate. Unless, well, they'd have to get a bunch of other states to agree to it, too. They could get a fairly good chunk of it by themselves, though. They could do that. But I think the bigger problem would be is that if you were to break it up into 5 chunks, would all 5 chunks actually act the same? Because like a bunch of people from like California have been moving to Texas. And I guess not everybody in Texas is very enthused about that. Actually, there's a lot of uranium on that. What the heck? I did notice it went invalid, operational, invalid, which felt a bit weird. I'm assuming that's just because it was going backwards and had to recalculate the path. Now we're going all the way up here to get to steel 1. I think I'd change one of those to steel 2. Well, I should probably have it set as a on and offload stations. It's like steel 1 on and steel 1 off. The speed 180, 190. Pardon me. What? We hit 200 there for a second. It again. And the 200 on the train. What? Huh? Oh no! It can run into itself. Okay. It can indeed run it. So I do need a better right turn system. No. I don't want to make a circle forever. I want to turn right. That is unfortunate. Let me turn right. Let me go right. No! Oh, I might have just gotten this, like, stuck. Okay. Let's back up a bit. That's true. The vast majority. Oh no! No, not my train. It's stuck. Okay. Nope. We're gonna have to delete those 3. Can I just route that in straight? Kinda. How does that affect signaling? Doesn't affect signaling. That's how it affects it. Well, that's sweet. Well, that's how we make right turns from now on. Wait, that's... No, I do kind of want that to... Yeah. Oh. What the... Why is the rotation not changing? Normally it controls its own rotation. I feel like something weird's going on there. There we go. Trains on it. I'd be allowed off though now. I can't. I can get my train off the track. I did find a small problem with roundabout. But nah. My roundabouts are perfect. Never have any issues. Ever. Never again. Definitely never, ever gonna have any more problems. They would never. I forbid them from having more problems. You to connect right there. Like that. Now, my roundabout is fixed. Kind of. I mean, no, it could still do a U-turn without running into itself. You're gonna spoil it for the YouTube video. I hope, oh wait, I can just turn on, okay. And it'll do the rest of that for me. Now, the only problem two trains could have would be if they both want to turn onto the same track, or if one of them wants to do a straight and the other one wants to do a left, and they're coming from opposite directions. But as long as they both either want to go straight past each other or only want to make right turns, there is no issue with that train system. Now, unfortunately, that's not necessarily a perfect train system. You can potentially see upgrades I can make in the future. Like making it so that way every direction has its own, well, every indirection has its own in. I don't necessarily think there's a much better roundabout system other than to just not use roundabouts. But I think roundabouts are the most versatile. Yeah. I did notice that. I was grateful for that. And that is also the reason that I'm still kind of like, should I just change should I change the YouTube name at least? I'd probably change the stream, well, my stream push name tag as well, but it's certainly interesting. Not sure it's the type of content I want being associated with me. Are you talking? It was kind of funny. After you searched me up, the the first video got like a boost and got like 10 extra views from just like other people. And the new Rainworld video has gotten precisely 0 views, which is a little oof, but from what I have seen, the way you get better at YouTube is you just do a lot. You just upload a ton. And that's also how you get pro streaming, is you just stream every day. That seems to be the general gist of how big players do it. It's just constantly all the time. Yeah, I can hop out here and get back on. Now, there should be cabled. That's not boding well for my storage. Well, yeah, maybe. I think in general you're pretty safe. I'm not sure what I would call myself if I had to change Backshot. I feel like I should change Backshot just due to the whole, if you look it up on Google, on YouTube, I am not near the top. And there is quite a lot of unique content associated with that name. I don't know. I'd have to think about it a lot more if I wanted to change. Honestly, don't know what I'd change it to, though. I almost wonder about White Triangle. I don't know why. That was just like the first name that popped in my head was White Triangle. Doesn't necessarily sound any most interesting. Oh, I don't think so. You may not have my Discord in my home city. But also, what's my home city? No, no. Oh. You know the city I'm technically in. You know the one I'm going to be going to soon. That is indeed the city I'm currently in. That is not my home city. And that is the city I am in for precisely 28 more days. And then I leave that city. Forever. Not necessarily forever. I am knowing that I'm in Anchorage. Well, not even that I'm in Anchorage, that I'm near Anchorage isn't the most useful. I've been somewhat careful. I know the basics of you don't tell your exact address. That's how you get murdered. The turn! It had the right turn! What the heck? Don't tell me you have to turn left there to go to make the right turn. Because it might say that. That is stupid. Why am I glad the automated trains don't have to deal with this? We want left, right. Now we just hold the double. That's cheating. Man has superpowers. I honestly don't understand how you can get that good at that game. Like, I could see getting pretty good at it, especially if you get a city, being able to be like, oh hey, I know that language is like that, and this says that, so that means we're probably over here. But I don't understand how people are like, yes, a field. This is this field in this country at this corner. I'm like, what do you mean? It is a field. Or when they guessed the exact position of a desert road, and it's just like, how? You could go forward 10 miles and it would still look the exact same. How did you know the exact location? Very impressive. I would not want to do it, because I'd be very... Alright, we want left. Right, and then right. part of the way you get around that, though, is you just, like, intentionally feed it, like, false information. Like, one thing I've kind of thought about getting is basically, like, getting, like, a TV, putting it in the background, but then putting, like, a sheet of paper over it to be, like, blinds. So that way I could show anything as being outside my window. So, like, let's say I wanted to have, like, red rocks. It's behind blinds, so it's not really going to be obvious that it's a TV. And then I could have it just display an image of, like, the Grand Canyon. No one would ever be the wiser. And then the next day, it's, like, some snowy mountain somewhere. Although, it'd be kind of difficult, because I'd want to use photos I actually took for that. Like, I wouldn't just want to use, like, random people's photos. Except, I feel like that still kind of defeats the purpose. Well, that then defeats the purpose of it being, like, anonymized. So that way nobody can track you down based off of your window. Because then it's, well, it's pictures you took. So those are places you've been. And you're always going to want new photos. Yeah. They might have issues if you just put fake plates on your car. Okay. I think we can just move Coast Rail to right there. Well, wherever this ends up touching down. Maybe that's what I'll do when I go through Canada, is I'll grab Canadian plates. Well, I think the easy thing to do is you just buy, like, the joke plates. At least that seems like that'd be one of the easier methods of throwing people off your trail. Yeah, I want to go down some more before I start trying to do a turn. It would be nice if I could just get low enough that I didn't need to make a turn. Just go straight into the roundabout. They're gonna learn based off, like, the type of steel I use in some random video I make one day. It's like, oh, he used this steel. This steel's only produced at this particular factory. And it's just like, what the heck, man? Although I do know it's actually, like, kind of dangerous to have your window exposed. And, like, to let people get a good view out your windows. Because you could get a lot of information from a window. It's kind of impressive. Because you can use, like, the sun and the horizon to, like, get, like, a bunch of information, like north, south hemisphere, where on the north and south hemisphere. I need iron plates. You have iron plates. A great deal of them. No. Nah. Yeah. When I went and I saw the new Guardians of the Galaxy movie, it was very, very good. They got some real emotion in that one. Well, compared to, like, Ant-Man. Although, the newest Ant-Man was kind of... Huh? Oh. Well, that's a mistake. Blue plates with, like, 6 all in one room. Huh. Yeah. That'd be interesting. Oh, I remember I was working with my uncle over the summer, and he was closing down his manufacturing business, but he had this really cool giant manufacturing sign, and I was like, "Can I have this? Because this is awesome." Because it was like 6 feet long, and it's just like, how often do you get the chance to buy? Well, not even to buy, to just get like a 6 or 7 foot long sign that just says manufacturing that has lights inside of it. And I was so excited. And so I asked him, like, hey, can I just have this? And he's like, yeah, you can have that. All right. Hey, buddy, like, toss it down, because I was there with his son as well. And his son has not heard that I have just requested this from him. So he's like, oh, we need this down? Okay. Yee. And then it shattered on the floor. And I was just like, this is a sad day. Did not feel the best watching it go. Because it was like a foot from me. I did everything I could to try and grab it and like stop that from crashing down. But I was not fast enough. And it snapped, and it was just like, oh well. I guess it shall elude me more. The cool manufacturing stuff. I guess, actually, I should probably just make my own. Can't be that hard. He says having zero idea what goes into it. Ooh, what the heck is this? That is... So this is the easy starting zone, because that is a butt ton of iron right there. What the heck is this zone? Just like we heard you liked iron. Apparently you get a butt ton of it if you start here. Well, it is the easy start. You're supposed to be flush with resource. We'll go down one more, and then we'll make a roundabout. I like this idea. I really should have made a train station at every one of these stops, so I could tell the automatic train to go, like, home and then come back. But I did not. It's just something I should have perhaps seen. Oop. Yeah, this is low enough for it. Oh, I heard of iron plate. That might make it a bit difficult to continue building. Although I do think I will add another train stop that adds the iron, well, that adds iron plate and cable to this tray. And make this just the dedicated I want to build train. I don't think it should be that bad to add those stops. Nope, didn't actually grab the iron plate. That should be in the ore. Yeah. Although, we're almost out of it. That's definitely too long. Delete. Oh, but now that definitely feels wrong. Hmm. That, in theory, will be a support pillar at some point. But now I can break out and just head down to wherever I need the train. And we will consider this one train stop. Which means one more train stop? Yeah, because it's just the one train stop on the other side of the swamp now. Although I probably do need a train stop in the swamp. Ooh, out of steel. Oh, yeah. Well, a lot of times these people like have those cars and they just have them like in a barn. And they're just sitting there. Like, nobody's using them. Like, they're just in the barn because people have forgotten that they exist. It's like, my throat. um, like my grandpa, he had a really, really nice old Lincoln. And when I say nice, like the exterior had gold trim. Like not gold, like looking trim, like actual gold plated trim. Like really, really nice Lincoln. And he just had it in a barn. I mean, he sold it now, but it was just in the barn. Sitting there. Waiting for somebody to come by to use it. And like in that barn, he has two 1966 Mustangs. Now apparently they have some like rusty frame damage, so I don't know what their actual quality is at this point. Don't look bad, I'll be honest. I kind of want one, but it is somewhat doubtful I'll get one. Just a little bit. And actually, if I turn self-driving on that train, as soon as I finish the rail, it'll start accelerating. At least it should. And then I just have to catch it. Watch me completely miss it. That would be devastating. Okay. You're like, wow, there's no way forward. And if you go on like, even like if you just go to like Facebook Marketplace and you start looking up like those old cars, you'll find a surprising number of them that are just like, yeah, stored it in my barn. It drove 60 years ago when I parked it there. It's just like, what do you mean? But they're cool. They don't always make sense the way you'll like find them, but Not sure what's going on there. But I'd like to make an electric car. Like convert and then like one of the 66 Mustangs into electric, but I don't think I will get to do that. They're pretty similar, I'll give you that. But not all of them. For example, I think the 80s Corvette, the 80s and 70s Corvettes are very distinctive. Because they have pop-up headlights, which is, oh yeah. I very much so like pop-up headlights for no reason. I understand that they are just the worst thing ever because they just break all the time. But they're so cool. They're especially cool when they aren't broken. What the heck? My train's just like, why have you done this to me? There we go. Now, jank turn. Is it moving? No, it's still beeping at me saying, hey, listen, there's a problem. Hey, listen. But I refuse to pay attention to my train. Really? Back there is the first one? Let's break this up. In, out. Yeah, there we go. Okay, it still says issue. Is not technically what we want, but it helps us. Because as long as a train can only travel on the right, that means it's only going to travel on the right. We don't have to worry about any head-on collision. Which is what we want. I wonder if you're meant to use like the path ones on just really long rails. And Fieros also get pop-up headlights. Because my grandpa only has 6 of those for some reason. And it's just like, why do we need 6 Fieros? They were never even really, like, really nice cars. Why do we need 6 of them? Because none of them work. I do think one of those being converted to electric actually is like a viable candidate because nobody is going to care if I rip up a Fiero. Because they're basically a little tiny rear engine beasts, kind of. Because like their engine is half the length of the car. Which isn't necessarily like a good thing. It's a very small car. Whoa. The scale was just put in perspective there. Like, that did not click until my foot landed on it. Like, that is monstrous. Alright, we have coastal rail now. Now, in theory, if we get big mush rail, we will have a pretty total rail network, kinda. I want to run a line from Big Mush through the aluminum and up again. well, through the swamp and then back up to oil one. The rectangle car culture is best car culture. Hello, train. I don't have a right turn there? I should. Because you're gonna be a problematic baby about it. But I can just... I said turn off. Okay. You can just hold S to get it out of there. And add in the right turn. At one point, my brother was supposed to get one of the Fieros as his driver. Oh, I'm out of... Wow, I'm... Yeah. The rectangle cars are cool. But the gas mileage. Yeah. Like, hey, we heard you liked car. It doesn't matter that it is a literal brick when it comes to aerodynamics. No? Great. And boy, do we have a car-free... Okay, it was split fourth. Alright, now you can be auto-driven without having error. I mean, I suppose my roundabouts would have been just fine if I had built them, if I'd built around smaller trains. If I just add in right turn bypasses, that should fix the issue with the roundabouts. Or it probably just prolongs me suffering to the right. Still need one more tee off from the pink forest at a minimum to get over the big mush rail. And then I would feel pretty alright starting work on other factories. Resources this one. I could do a big iron plant over here and use this water. I think that's probably what I'll do, because I'll make a big, like a really big heavy modular frame factory over here. And shoot for like 200 a minute or something. Because I'm pretty sure there's enough resource here to support that. There might not be, but there might not be. And that's the important. I think the other question though is, do I make it so it's all one big... So do I use the rail network to transport all of the raw resources to one spot, one massive ore processing? Or do I process on site all the way up into the material I want and then ship that out using the rail network? I'm not sure. I don't want to rebuild this steel system, because this steel system could be twice as fast. Yeah. Yep. That's more than half of me too. And that's the other thing is like, like traffic lights? Those things are like a foot diameter. And it's just like, wait, those little lights up there are like a foot? Just because they're grandstanding it up there, we don't realize that they are monstrous in size. I think a new steel factory setup right there. Better than this. Using... Well, actually, I don't even think these are Mark III miners. I think these are Mark II at best. They might even be Mark I. No, they're Mark II. They're overclocked. But they're Mark II. Right. No. I do need to work on the objective 4, because right now the objective 4, I'm just making zero progress on it. There's exactly zero effort being put into it. I also definitely need to consume, like, existing rail lines into this one. Although I guess, do I need every rail network to be 8 cargo containers? I kind of don't feel like I need all of them to be 8 cargo containers. You are iron plate. There's nothing in you. You are concrete. You're full. Steel pipe isn't full. I'm just putting these in there so that way I have more inventory space when it comes to adding things in that I want, like iron and dirt. Mainly I just want iron plate added. Let's go look into adding. We'll fill our inventory up. Or we can just dump leaves. I don't think leaves are ever actually really all that useful. That should be enough. Quite a lot more still. How much copper wire do I have? Copper wire is not that necessity. I just need to add a simple rail stop for this factory and for over here, rather than just this spaghetti's nest of just material goes there and that material goes there. This is bad. This is real bad. Yeah, I think. Well, yeah, but if we measured them by surface area, we would start targeting simple numbers. We wouldn't go for a 12-inch diameter pizza. We go for a 12-inch diameter or pizza because that's easy, not because that's what we actually want. Gosh, that does have a right turn bypass there. I just forgot. We will add the last spoke in, and then we will start working on integrating the existing rail networks in. We will absorb that train right there into this network. We will absorb all the aluminum train line into this network as well. Then we will start looking into. Excuse me. But I don't remember inviting you. How the heck did you get up here? Did you get jumped on while I passed that at some point? Yeah. I used to know most of the circle things just off the top of my head. I've kind of forgotten them. I'm not exactly happy that I forgot. Because every now and then they're useful. I need them, but I forgot them. Which is less useful. It seems to just be 20 on normal rail. That is not what I clicked. No! Oh, I remember. You have to do the weird, stupid left thing. Boy, it's missing a turn in a train's terrible. You overshoot it so much when you're in a train this big. Now we can go back where we want. Actually, wait. This is where we want to be. Because now we are heading to Big Mush Rail, because Coastal Rail is done. We want Big Mush Rail. Okay. Where is Big Mush Rail? Alright, it doesn't actually apply. Okay. Right. Oh. Bit unfortunate. Radius squared is not diameter. Now you might have meant to put radius times 2, but radius squared is not diameter. Radius squared is something completely different. You shall be. I reroute it to just make a turn early. Then I can use that. Just one. Ooh, this train's still on that piece of rail. What happens if you pick up a train that's still on one piece of rail? I feel like bad. I'm angry. But I didn't. Yeah. Okay. Now we will work on correcting this dire mistake. Kind of miss math. Something I never thought I'd say. When I was a dumb child, I did not think I would ever say I miss math. I saw them doing their like the school cleanup today as I was driving to work. Because, well, I guess it's not really the school cleanup, it's the highway cleanup thing. Where my school would be like, hey, the roads are dirty because we have spent the last... Oh, I remember. Because this can't be removed. Stupid. I take it even further. Getting the purpose. At this point, I might as well just put in another one. But I don't want it. Oh, my inventory's full. That's why it's on the floor right there. It'd be kind of cool if they made like some of the train interiors like actual interiors that you could enter. So you could have like a mini building zone inside the trains.
Comply.
Okay. Things must be adjusted. If I say here. Let's assume we're starting over here. Right here is where the new break will be. Alright. Let's just get rid of all. Or not, because I can't see. Right there, though. Got it. Oh, I think I hear people. It's stressful. bit rough sometimes. They are just people I am leaving soon. Hopefully not to never see again, but potentially. I would doubt to never see again. I'd be like if the apocalypse happened as I was leaving. Well, that would suck. Like the apocalypse happened like during like a move. Because then it's just like you're literally in the middle of nowhere just to like start out. Like just, your spawn is just the worst. On top of that, it's just you can't easily get to anybody that like can actually like you know could be trusted or help you. The apocalypse, so you don't necessarily know what's going on and who can and cannot be trusted. And you're away from all your resources and like protection. I wonder if it's the plants that are triggering that. I know when they stand up, they can be like, blah. You big dumb? Why are you big dumb? Because you seem pretty not big dumb most of the time. Just saying. The vast majority of the time you seem not big dumb. The exponent. You can't forget about the exponent. It'll always come back to bite you when you forget about it. Not enough. Go back to the train. The train is miles away. Of course it is. Yeah, it's okay. I can never remember, like, denominator and numerator. Like, I think denominator is the bottom. Bear in mind, I passed a college-level calculus course with flying colors. You couldn't... You couldn't do better than what I did in that class. And I always got those mixed up. Because, I mean, like, it's only important sometimes when, like, you're being taught stuff. You never, like, you always just remember, like, oh, you just do this to the top, or you just do this to the bottom. You don't remember you do this to the denominator. I probably should have started trying to remember it that way. But probably should have, and did, are not the same. I hear somebody around there just going stippy step, stippy step. They're stippy step.
I strongly advise you to harvest this specimen.
I'm sure you do. You would never be honest. Really? No. I'll just say that one felt very, very long. Long placement, if that was the case.
Harvest it.
No. I reuse. You can't me. Aggressive harvest. Oh, I'm out of. Yeah, trigonometry's pretty good. I think cosine and like sine and all that always like was the hardest for me. But it also felt like you could just do things with that where like none of it would make sense till the very end and then it would just all pop together beautifully. And it was just like, hmm, why is it suddenly beautiful in like the last 10 seconds? No, I saw the cute triangle with the all cute angle. I just thought that meant you actually like enjoyed trigonometry. Not that you just wanted to use that as part of the joke. Trigonometry was not your favorite. Understood. It was purely for the joke. Understandable. Now, the train is almost ready to move again. It is a triangle with, I believe, all three angles less than 90 degrees. Because you can have two angles less than 90, but that third one, if it's bigger, can be like a nice, not a nice south. No, an obtuse triangle. If one angle is over 90, the right triangle if one angle is exactly 90, and it's a acute triangle if all angles are below 90. But there is more. I believe equilateral triangle is a triangle where all angles are equal. I have tricked this perfectly. Round a turn. Ooh. There be boxes. My inventory full. What? Now I'm a bit confused. Inventory is not full, but I made boxes. Okay, big mush rail though. Hopefully I can preserve some up there in the turn. What time is it? It is 6. That is plenty of time. I think yeah. I'm just gonna shoot for making it to Big Mush Rail and then adding in the roundabout. And that will be it for. But I have to go do something. A couple minutes. Sorry. Thank you. I do believe Google has led you astray though, because three angles larger than 90 degrees. That ain't a triangle. So I think Google has led you astray. Because I'm pretty sure an obtuse triangle is one angle is larger than 90, not 90. Like larger, not that. Because that would be a right triangle. And an acute, I'm pretty sure is everything is below. Because because you can't have three greater than 90s form a triangle. It just doesn't work. Ah, there we go. Like, ooh. All good. We're learning. That's why we're here. We're not here to have fun. We're here to learn. You take a square and you cut it in half using its corners as like you're cutting an ending, your start and ending point, you get two triangles. Pretty wild. Not many people know that. You're the first to learn from my hip new course on what is and is not a triangle. Like that whole how can you have a triangle with three 90-degree angles? Well, not a triangle, but how can you walk for forward a mile, turn right 90 degrees, walk forward a mile, turn right, walk forward a mile 90 degrees, and then end up back where you started? No, you gotta go from corner to corner. You can't just go from center point to center point. Although, technically, if you did one center point to a side center point, you'd get a small triangle and then a big thing that's not a triangle. And we don't want that. We want only triangles. This computer software likes triangles. It doesn't like not triangles. Computer software is magical. Let me be honest. Like, it's pretty impressive what computer software does. Like, this would just be absolute, like, literal magic to just anybody before us. I don't know how you did that one. Instructions unclear. Circle has been produced. I didn't think we were playing Shapes.io. Nope. Oh, yeah. We must. That's impressive. Oh, there's a big thumping car driving by. Kind of impressive. Oh, look, there's a chunky boy. Right there. He's one of the big ones. We? Yeah, it should be fine. Might not want to go that far, though, because I want to make a turn at some point. People are getting ridiculous with their, like, 780 to 480 splitters. There seems to me like a very simple solution called a programmable splitter plus a little tiny bit of the cheap, actually, potentially not even the programmable. Yeah, I came up with a way of doing it without a programmable splitter. With a splitter, a merger, and a merger, you can get it pretty easily. Without much. What do I need? Yes, it was concrete. Hello, train. Train. I think you misspelled something there. But not technically. They could start as rectangles. Actually, I do think they start as rectangles, but I don't think they cut them one at a time. I think they cut a bunch of them at a time. Although they could do that by cutting them into squares and then cutting the squares. I don't know which comes first, the square or the rectangle or the stops. Yeah, we'll put a stop bit there. As long as the crabs don't get annoying, this won't be a problem. I mean, like, even, like, I like the balance, because I feel like the balance helps it come online from, like, a stock. Like, due to, but, like, a balance in a nuclear facility feels very important. A balance just about everywhere else doesn't feel all that important. Like, I think on my next nuclear facility, I do want it to all be balanced. Or be overbuilt so it doesn't matter. Yep. A good quote to be quoted. No, get out of here,
You are
Mercer
so
Sphere.
lucky that you found this most valuable artifact.
Don't care. Opinions and math. They swore never to meet. Oh. That is still absolutely a brick wall. You know, it's much easier if I just go over it back here. I decided that before I wasted my time on all this, but we live and learn. No. It would have been easier if I just decided to do that from the get-go, but we're here now. And no, not the stupid ball. Why is it gotta be stupid ball. Can I... No. Lose power. I bet I know what you did. On a calculator, there's a secret function where if you just hit enter twice on the fancy ones, it just does the equation again, but like with the answer. It's dark calculator magic. You can't tell anybody about it. Only the high calculators know. About this. The dark. After the Jedi, tragedy of Vegas the Wise. No, I thought not. Oh yeah, ants can get you your answer back for multiplication, but like if you do like 10 times 10 and then enter, it'll give you 100. Then you press enter again, I believe it multiplies it by again. I'm looking for my calculator. Calculator in my bag, so I'm not gonna find it on my desk. But I have a second calculator. Oh no, it just does the answer. Well, if you do 10 times second answer. Ah, there we go. You do 10 times answer and then you press enter twice, it will keep upgrading, it'll keep updating the answer. But that's advanced calculator. So advanced, I got it wrong the first time I tried to tell you about it. I don't know why it's pronounced sign and not the way it like reads. Because I always remember like in my head going like close and tan. Or like the shortened baby bit. That high enough. No, because I can't get rid of those stupid poison clouds. So I need to go over them. Or else the train will suffer aesthetically. And we can't have that. That's in the wrong spot. Gosh dang it. Really needed one of these with out the top bits for like when I need to do these angles. Must rise above the poison. I feel like there's some new shows that are interesting. Like, I don't know if you have Apple TV or, like, even vaguely pay attention to such a thing. But there's a new show coming out on it called Silo. It looks very interesting. I have no idea what it's actually like about or what it's going to be about. It looks interesting. I love it when they spawn things in death zones. Like, the animals should not be, like, this badly affected by the poison clouds, I'll be honest. The animals need to be somewhat immune to the poison clouds, or they need to stop spawning them in the poison clouds. It's not very smart to do that. They just spawn and then die. Rain, it's time to go forward to victory. I needed steel? Not steel, iron plate. I can't wait for them to add titanium, because that process is, like, ridiculous. I looked into it the other day. You know, like, to make titanium, they have to turn it into a gas. Like, they gasify the titanium before they can use it, which is just kind of ridiculous, if you ask me. That, like, the easiest solution to refining it is turning it into a gas. And that's just so you can mix it with another gas. It's ridiculous. Hmm. A unique way of interpretation of handling a language. I wonder what made them think, ah yes, this shall be the way we name things. Now there are definitely people home now, 'cause I heard the garage doors. Home? That didn't sound normal. There are new sounds. New sounds just dropped. No. Wee. Man, am I glad I don't have to ever transport anything organic in this train system. Be unfortunate if I ever did. Some of it gets irradiated, some of it goes through poison cloud. Yep. Isn't the language awesome? No. You were fine. We only deal with mistranslation. I didn't enlist people to help me do this. But then I couldn't claim that this is 100% solo world, or like solo discovered world. Right now I can say that all the designs are mine. I haven't copied them from anyone. I have brute forced stupidly. Although I'm not sure anybody would want to claim my design. They are a tad bit thin. Here. Not the best, I have to say. Maybe my nuclear system doesn't feel bad. Yeah, like, what do you do if something gets put below the ground? Does it just suffer? Like, is that really the answer? Or can you, like, glitch underground to clean that up? You better not die down there, otherwise your stupid box will be down there forever. You'll never be able to get the box out. Can you put gases in train cars? I mean, I'm about 100% sure you'd always be better off just using an actual piping for gases, but can you? I mean, all of the fluid infrastructure theoretically works with them, so like, why not? Hmm. There is ways of fixing it. They just don't feel like the best way. That's not really a way of fixing it in-game if you have to load up a entirely separate program to modify your file. I'm sure they're working on it, though. Gas in the train. Need to do Rain World again soon. Because I want to get that also down to a more weekly cadence. I'm not overly sure why I'm doing this giant push into like streaming and live streaming and like video editing and whatnot right now. I'm about to leave the state. I'm about to not have like computer access for like a month. So I'm not gonna be able to continue any of this. And there's an entirely real possibility that just all of my saves get destroyed on the trip, which really, really sucks. And I do intend to do several backup methods. Like external hard drives, as well as potentially uploading the file somewhere. Potentially. Also, there are two of the fancy ground things, like, right next to them, each other over here. Because right there's a nitrogen one, and then right there's an oil one. They need to use your world as a test stand. The way they do Let's Game It, what the developers do with Let's Game It Out. Still, the fact that they use his world as a test bench is, like, ridiculous. I mean, I kind of understand. His world is a bit ridiculous. Not very efficient. I wonder how quickly I could get my world to that status of, hey, you can get a copy of it. I believe I have it on Steam Cloud Saves. Oh. But even if I intend to back it up. Just because it's always nice to have backups of stuff. Plus, then I have it backed up as like a snapshot of like, hey, I was exactly here on this day. And I know that I was exactly. We're almost to the bushy bush. Actually, we're getting. That's a water deposit, not a coal. You know that? I guess there's not a whole lot of oil deposits, but there's that one right there that is ridiculously nice. That one, I feel, could be quite a large factory on its own. Iron plate. Need iron. You did say that this game has eaten a computer part before, which is very unfortunate. SSDs aren't cheap. Well, if you get good sized ones, they're cheap. They definitely make some of them real dirt cheap. I have perhaps bought one of those, hey, look, it's like $10 for 250 gigabytes. It worked. The idea there was I was helping fix a PlayStation 3 and soup it up. And PlayStation 3's maximum hard drive space was like 240 or something. It's some weird number. It's not what you'd expect it to be. So there's no point in like trying to put a bigger hard drive than that in a PlayStation 3 because they just won't recognize it. It's unfortunate. Well, as it turns out, PlayStations are like always like just really cool for not PlayStation things. Ooh. Yeah, that would suck. 10 years of Minecraft. Would be devastating. You can get a raid system, and that would stop losses. Well, that doesn't necessarily stop losses. It helps mitigate the ability of loss. But I'm not sure all motherboards support raid. I'm not 100% sure how you actually go about setting up a raid system. I just know that it can protect you in case of like accidents where one SSD dies. I mean, they're cool, but they get expensive to do properly quickly. Because like every raid, if you want complete losslessness for the ability to lose one drive, you have to duplicate every single drive. So you're basically paying double for the same amount of storage. Compared to if you didn't do raid, where you just bought whatever you needed. Like, at the same time, the safety you get out of it feels just really worth it, especially when you have a system like, well, especially when you have things that are like 10 years old that are not replaceable. I really should have a raid system at this point. Like, I could potentially have a raid system set up quite easily. Just don't. Although there are also some other like unique things, unique setups for like safely storing extra hard drives that I've seen, where you basically you do have a parity of information everywhere, but you only have like half of them be SSDs and the other half just be platter drives, and you always like read off of the SSDs first. So that way if your SSD dies, it can still get the information off the platter drive, but it's cheaper than making everything SSDs, but it's also faster than making everything platter drives. I think honestly the worst is like you're doing stuff and then it just shuts off. And you're just like, huh, well that's a bit strange. Guess I'll just reboot. And it just doesn't. And then you notice your motherboard fan, well not your motherboard fan, but your CPU cooler ain't moving. And you notice that. And it's just like, ow. Oh. Because that is what happened to my last computer. No Satisfactory was ever played on that computer, though. So. What is Space Engineers, though? I might have to do Space Engineers again. The new AI update for it looks sweet. I have seen some of it where it's like weird, like psychedelic color things. And it does look cool, but it's also like, yeah, no. If my GPU died, if either of them died, it would be devastating. I would be so sad if my computer, well, if my GPUs died. I use them for so much. We're almost to the point we can put a roundabout in. Although, where do we actually want a roundabout in the mushroom biome? I'm kind of thinking just in the air over the water would be a good spot for it. Or on top of like one of the mushrooms. Top of one of the mushrooms might actually be the best spot. And then, yeah, once this is done, the train network will still need up like more rails, because I'll still need the crossed horizontal rail. I'll still need these rails. And I'll still need this rail. But once those four rails are done, I will have complete map servicement through rail. That'll be cool. Even if I don't use it much. I hope I use it a lot, though. It's a lot of effort to set up a system if I don't use it. I think the cool part is when they pull the hard drive and it doesn't just immediately turn off. Because everything it's using is on the RAM. There's also, I saw like this company like advertising their security software, and they're like, "Oh yeah, like look, our program is entirely contained to just the RAM." I'm like, wait a minute. Almost every program is entirely contained to just the RAM. I mean, they read off your disk for the source, like for the initial bit, but then they don't typically go back to your hard drive every time they want more information of like a copy of the same thing. They go to RAM for that. Which kind of just made me wonder, like, what do you actually mean when you say you are entirely on the hard drive? Well, on the RAM. Because that's most things. Hello, other person, by the way. You don't have to talk or anything. I just see that the number went up. Zoop. Just to let you know what we're doing, I'm building a rail network. Except it's kind of jank, because I don't actually have anything that uses a rail network yet. I mean, that's not entirely true. I have 2 small rail lines that are basically just point-to-points. But this is all being built in anticipation of much bigger rail lines. That will not just be point-to-points. Because this is being developed with 8 cargo wagons, so 10 long total trains. And that to be the average train that uses this system. Because I want to consume the entire map. Because soon I will start work on a every uranium deposit section. Because I have used 1 uranium node for nuclear power currently, and I want to use all of them with the super efficient chips. Because I have 2 uranium like fuel efficiency chip things. I need these. And I need these. Yep. And also, I do understand that the rail provides power. The power poles are for other things. Because I want to be able to turn on and off basically the entire map from the power station that I'm going to build. And so I need to be able to have on and off signals that doesn't use the rail. Because the rail will be going everywhere. With little to no difficulty. Well, it'll have a single rail network connecting the entire map, which would mean a single power grid connecting the entire map, which is not quite what I want. Close, though. I mean, eventually a single power grid connecting the map will happen. Just I want to be able to turn on and off parts of it. And these will eventually be getting supports. I did not know that is how that worked with the vomit of rainbows. Kind of like a whole new meaning to taste the rainbow. To be the rainbow. don't think I want to be the rainbow, though. Being a rainbow, I mean, it sounds cool, but it also sounds kind of boring. 'Cause if you think about it, rainbows don't really do much besides exist. They do exist pretty cool, though. I'm sorry, what? But what are the things we put in Skittles? Well, I mean, like, stomach acid isn't like a bright green. It's almost clear. It's just like a tinge. So, just about anything like you put in it will color it. It's just you're used to it being like that green because you've got food in there that you're digesting. You don't typically throw up nothing. Well, you don't typically just throw up pure stomach acid. Typically you throw up the last whatever you've been eating that hasn't digested. And that's typically where you get your color from. Just a lot of things when they get digested turn green, from my understanding. I could be spreading misinformation. I don't believe I am, but I could be. They are... just because it's an optical illusion doesn't mean the optical illusion isn't real. They are cool. Just not sure it'd be a very fun life. Just existing. And nobody can ever actually get close to you, because the closer they get, the farther you get. Yep. Now, do we do a U-turn? Or just a right turn? Or no turn? We keep descending. I think we do a U-turn. Yeah, because that's the edge of the map. I don't want to go off that. Yeah. Although, I mean, everything gets hit by light. Otherwise, we would just see darkness. And we don't just see darkness. Yeah, no, it still doesn't sound the most entertaining life. Sounds like that'd be a bit boring. Alright, zoop, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Ooh. Oh yeah, I forgot. You gotta include the corner. The corner is what actually gets placed on. And then place. Yeah. 3. 1, 2. Actually, I could put a beam. Oh yeah, I could put a support beam there. One of these. And it wouldn't look out of place. I mean, I would pretty much be in the right place. If I'm being honest. Zero. Now, that power line is definitely going to get cut by a train, technically, every time a train comes through here, but That's for future me to determine what best to do about. We hate future me because he never does what we think he's going to do. That's why we make his life miserable by intentionally just ignoring things. Why do we always seem to hate future versions of ourselves? That was a weird noise. Okay. And then we put another support structure right there. We connect it like that. Oh, I didn't do the reading today. Not a school day. He'll be fine. I do need to remember to do that moving forward. Yeah. That could be part of it. I could see that being part of it. Yeah. That's how it works. Past me is always just tells me what to do. Future me never listens. Well, 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 if it isn't the consequences of my actions. The beautiful line. So is how the turntables turn. It's also a beautiful line. Hidden. Give me some of that concrete. Oh, I just fell, to be honest. There we go. I wonder what Let's Game It's Out's autosaves are like. Mine are already getting pretty chunky. And I had power before I would have been in trouble. This is gonna look cool with support beams. I mean, it already looks super interesting in my opinion, but I'm a bit biased. Wonder if that talk happened. There was supposed to be a talk today. Pretty much. But it's not in the past by very much. Could be worse. It could be in the past by a lot. I think that would be much worse. Never truly knowing what was happening. I don't think it would have stopped us, though. I think even if we had had that limitation, it would not have stopped us. Of perpetually living like 5 minutes in the past. I think driving probably would not have happened, though. Because we'd probably be much more reliant on things like horses if they didn't suffer from that same, like, living 5 minutes in the past. Although, then we probably would have been very, like, religious about, like, animals are magic because they can see the future by, like, 5 minutes. It's incredible. Although maybe we would have understood then. Or maybe not. Unclear. Gosh dang it. Okay. I need to place those so I don't forget that I have placed those. No, this is still fine. I can still make this work. Because if I place that there and then delete the top two and then put ramps there, yeah, we're fine. No problem. Your world's a bit aggressive compared to mine. Although even mine's starting to get aggressive compared to where we started. I don't imagine too much longer till I start building factories like yours, and things are gonna get real aggressive. Alright. We will level off here, just because the coral seems like a bit of a pain to do much with. Nope. Go forward 3 over... Ooh. Forward 3 over 2. Back 6. 6. 5. Place. Corner. 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 7 R. Zoop. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. 3 E to the 4. We place that like that. And now it's got a core. But it's a core that needs to be raised instead of lowered. It needs to be on a tower, so all these lines go over the rails instead of through the rails. But once again, that is a problem for future me because he never listens. And I'm going to teach him a lesson this time. My guess would be black, though. But I don't know. That was always one thing that I was kind of confused about, like how that worked. Was like, if you're blind, how are you supposed to see when you die? Like, what do you... I guess actually, no, when you're blind, what do you see when you die with the whole, like, you supposedly see your life flash before your eyes? Because that doesn't seem very accurate to me. Because, like, not everybody can see. If you can't see, there's not really a whole lot you can do about it. And like the whole life flashes before your eyes. It only seems to like actually happen if the person sees the danger coming. They don't typically just poof, I had a vision. Like, oh, like, I guess that means you almost died. They don't typically see it that way. Let's not say they don't always see it. Well, they don't sometimes see it that way, but not the normal way from what I can tell. But people see it. Although, I suppose if your vision was always 5 minutes in the past and then you died, I'm pretty sure you would die without knowing what killed you. Well, I mean, I'm sure sometimes it would be quite obvious, but like, you always die, well, because I'm assuming death would travel at the same speed, regardless of your perception of it. Although, this is now, once I make the rail back, kind of a completed rail network. It's a bit of a strange one, I'll give it that, but... we can't have that. It would be a shame to have anything flying. It's gonna actually be like a massive pain in the butt to add support pillars to all of these. Maybe I'll come up with a design that means I only actually give support pillars to like every other. Maybe. And then just connect the bases of all of them. I could see that looking good. Because this design was originally thought up as being a more close to the ground setup. I should have turned the train on to autopilot. So that way, as soon as it thought it was connected, it would just go. Ah! Pinched in my arm. My arm feels pinchy. What is... Arm feels pinchy. That probably would not be enough water. No, that wouldn't be enough water for my nuclear setup if I wanted to build one. Because the new nuclear setup will be like 6 times the size of my current one. So it's gonna need a lot of water. And that don't feel like enough. Not even close. I'm actually... Yep, station unreachable. Just fine. I am, however, going to need to come back through with signals at some point and cut these lines up so trains can use them at... Well, more than one train can use a direction at a time. Because some of these lines are just incredibly long. And I don't want to limit one train's passage. Because that seems like a very quick and easy way to back up the whole system. In case of an emergency. Yeah. I think another thing, though, like with the whole, like, you get, like, frame by frame jumpy, is, like, depending on if, like, you hit your head or not, like, you could just literally be passing in and out of consciousness. But I don't think we can really... I don't think we can really give much credence to anything people that were on a deathbed said. Because, like, they were on a deathbed. Their body was barely functional. I don't necessarily think that they were functioning on all cylinders. I really thought railways were going to be more expensive to build. Yeah, they don't seem to like it very much. Especially their living relatives. They really don't seem to like it. They take great offense to it for some reason. I don't get it. We're just trying to help them. Help them by any means necessary. This is not a bad rail system, I think. Definitely incomplete, but not bad. Yeah. Brain death is pretty much just you're gone. There's not a whole lot of coming back from that. Although, luckily, you can come back from quite a lot of brain damage. Damage is very different than death. Construction tree? Are you on the move? You are on the move. Let's go. Yeah, Big Mush Rail. And kind of very much so in the wrong spot at this point. Alright. But now, all four corners, as well as the center of the mat, are accessible via train. I don't think so. Because, like, it's not the same, like, as with your heart. Because your heart is bop, 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 bop. It's like one signal repeating. It's not hundreds of thousands of millions of signals that are all interweaving and like spider webbing out from each other. Because that's, from what I understand, that's more accurate to how a brain functions. Is it's like a CPU almost, or a GPU. It's not one signal repeating. So I don't think just giving one big shock would really bring it back. Pretty sure once it's gone, it's gone. Rail network. Well, the basic starts with one. Now, I just have to actually build something that uses this basic rail network. That's so much easier. And I really don't understand my ISP. Because right now it's a period of like peak traffic. Like it's Saturday night, it's a weekend night. Kids are up gaming right now. And I've had pretty much a constant 8,000 kilobits per second. The whole time. No problem. But just like Tuesday night. Like Tuesday at like 1 p.m. Nah, you're getting nothing. Too bad, so sad. Deal with it. I'm starting to think it's more of the server I'm trying to stream to rather than something on my end. So I'm starting to think that my end is actually fine all the time. It's just 1 p.m. my time is some period of super high traffic for Twitch elsewhere. I wonder if I should try changing my server when that happens. Well, I don't know if they'll let you change your server or if they just try and force you to auto-connect to the nearest server. Unclear to me. Yeah, I think you're much better off doing just kind of like humming it to yourself rather than taking the precious time to look it up and start playing it. Because like it's a good training one, but generally if somebody needs CPR, they need it like immediately. You don't really have time to like mess around with pulling something up. Generally. It's more often than not, those situations are really more of a, we need this right this second. But, another one bites the dust is also a good one. Although people don't necessarily like to use that one for obvious reasons. You know, this steel site could be completely redone. Especially now that I no longer technically need the trucks. I need holding pens for trains. Because I need this to be a building train that I can tell it to go out, collect all of the resources for a rail segment, and then come back to a holding pen location. But I kind of think I have to call it there today, because I have to work tomorrow. Plus, this is already a 3-hour stream, which feels much shorter than it actually... Well, it feels much shorter than it is. Well, that's kind of cool. Although I do think next time I play, we are going to overhaul this facility. Overhaul this steel facility and get all of the trains into this network. And actually using it now that it's built. Although, yeah. It's gonna require a little bit of coaxing to get the swamp connected, but it'll work. Well, I mean, it's not, I don't want to say it's easy, but it's not that difficult to get, like, the beat you need. It's more of the getting it 100% accurate 100% of the time that's difficult. And generally with chest compressions, if somebody needs that, it's almost just more important that you're doing it than you're doing it well. Doing it well is always advised. But just doing it at all oftentimes is better than nothing. Rework of steel. Connect that line. The oil is basically already connected. I just need to add train stops on each end at each location for oil to work. I need to do quite a bit to come over here, collect things, and then add another train station. Actually, I need multiple train stations at the center. I need to redo the one down here big time. But it shouldn't be the worst thing in the world to deal with. I needed to redo basically all of my oil segments. All of the oil factories need to be rebuilt. So right now, virtually all of these oil deposits are converted to power right now, and they don't need to be. Although I'm very interested in this one. That's a lot of oil. All right. That will be where I call it for tonight. You should definitely go check out the Rain World episode 2. I think I did it vaguely better. Vaguely. Not much better, but vaguely. Ooh. Go to the doctor. Appendicitis will murder you. If that thing ruptures, you're basically dead. Like, it's real bad. Because, like, once it ruptures, there's not a whole lot of going back. It's just death. Also, I thought you were in Canada. I thought you had, like, mostly free healthcare compared to the US. Yeah, I mean, it could just be a pulled muscle, but your options are death because it wasn't a pulled muscle, or you get potentially some medicine because it was just a pulled muscle. Like, I mean, I get it, it's inconvenient, but one of the consequences could literally just be death, which doesn't sound great. As somebody who has been to, like, the American, like, paid hospitals, you're not... That feels about right. That feels about right. They like to claim, like, oh, it's fast because it's paid. It's not fast. It's only fast if you can afford to go to the really nice places. And most people can't. Just bring a laptop or something. Place it. Start a Satisfactory creative world. Although that only really works if you have a laptop, which does not necessarily everyone has. Where did I put that? It just occurred to me I'm not wearing it. Maybe when I went to the bath. Maybe that's when I took it off. They are a minimum of $5,000. On average, they are $15,000. So stupid. Ambulances are just ludicrous. And then there's air ambulances. And air ambulances are even worse. Because they are like 15 grand a mile with air ambulances. And it's just like, to have like almost $1 million medical bill because they said you needed an air ambulance to get to a bigger center when you could have survived at the smaller center. I mean, it wouldn't be a problem if they didn't expect the guy who makes $20,000 a year to pay almost $1 million for his ambulance. But they expect that guy to pay that much. It's just not great. Not great at all. Maybe that'll help. I don't necessarily think it is. $7. I'm afraid I'm truly sorry for this travesty you've experienced of $7 and not 70 grand if you were part of America. I'm truly sorry for your loss of not getting to experience capitalism. Unchecked capitalism. Yeah. Well, that's the thing, though. Like, even just burying you costs a lot of money. It's kind of stupid. Because, like, burying you ain't free. You have to pay for somebody to come out, dig up the piece of ground you want to be buried on. You also have to own the piece of land you're being buried on, but you don't get to actually, like, own it. You can't, like, will it to your kids and say, like, hey, if you want, for whatever reason, you can come build a house on my grave. No, it's you own a plot on somebody else's land that they actually own. And in some places, you have to pay to keep your plot. Which is just like, wait, what? What do you mean you have to pay to keep the plot? And it's like, yeah, no, they will dig you up if your family doesn't pay. Which is wild. To me, anyways. That the system works like that. And it's like, oh, sorry, your family lapsed on their bill. Time to... Now, mine is just donate me to science, because that is actually free. Astonishing. It also helps... Well, it also, like, kind of forces them to save a lot on, like, funeral expenses, because it's kind of hard to pay for certain things. So, like, the cash money is different. And, like, by that I mean, like, you have to, like, the embalming process of a person is not cheap. The embalming process is anything but cheap. It just feels a bit strange, I'll be honest. Okay. There should be some mild improvements to the steel facility before I come back to remake it. To be perfectly honest, I hope I get to be one of those old people who get strapped to a chair and then exploded, like that one lady did. Yep. Mm-hmm. Like opal. Opal is super, super hard to make. But it can be made. It's very cool. Okay. Now I actually do have to go. Goodbye. Have a nice night. Also, probably go to the doctor so you don't die. Might be a good idea.